work for the advancement and benefit of its people, so that peace and happiness, unity and justice may be established amongst us all. Amen. Please, thank you. Please be seated. Manningham City Council acknowledges the Wurundjeri people as the traditional custodians of the land we now know as Manningham. We pay our respects to Wurundjeri elders past and present and value the ongoing contribution to the cultural heritage of Manningham. Council would also like to acknowledge the contribution made to Manningham over the years by people of diverse backgrounds and cultures. I welcome all members of the public here tonight to this council meeting who have come along to observe proceedings. I also recognise and welcome the member for Bulleen, the Honourable Matthew Guy MP, the member for Warrandyte, the Honourable Ryan Smith MP, former Mayor and Councillor Lionel Allen, former Mayor and Councillor Ron Kitchenman, and former Mayor and Councillor Jim Rebo-Costa. Thank you, Jim. I've rehearsed it many times, but never quite get it right. I have to say, my name's a bit of a tongue twister too. So, I'd like to advise those present that tonight's meeting is being audio and video recorded. All care is being taken to maintain your privacy. However, as a visitor in the public gallery, your presence may be recorded. By remaining in the gallery, it is assumed your consent is given in the event that your voice and or image is broadcast. All public meetings are governed by a meeting procedure law. I will introduce each item of business as listed on the agenda, calling it by number and reading the title. I will then call for a mover and a seconder of a motion on the item before opening any debate. Only councillors are able to join the debate on an item. Councillors may adopt the officer's recommendation in the report or propose amendments and supplementary motions. I'd like to draw everyone to your attention to item 7 on tonight's agenda, which is public question time, which provides people with an opportunity to ask questions of the council. Questions must be registered prior to the commencement of the meeting to be asked. If we don't have the information at hand to provide a meaningful response, the question may be taken on notice and a response provided in writing. I'd like to also stress that I will deal with the maximum of 2 questions per person and 2 questions on any one issue. If you have more than 2 questions, please submit those additional questions in writing to council through the normal channels. So, we proceed to item number 2, which is apologies and requests for leave of absence. I've received an apology from Councillor Michelle Kleinhardt for tonight's meeting. Item number 3, prior notifications of conflict of interest. There are no prior notifications of conflicts of interest. Item number 4, confirmation of the minutes. Do I have a mover? Councillor Conlon.
I'd like to move that the recommendation be adopted. Try that again. Sorry. That the minutes of the ordinary meeting of council held on 25th of June 2019 be confirmed.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Galbraith. Any speakers against the motion? Accordingly, I'll put the motions. All those in favour? Motion carried. Item number 5, which we're all here for tonight. Which is presentations.
I had to come anyway.
City of Manningham. Mr. Ron Kitchenman, OAM. Councillors, with your agreement, I'd like to suspend standing orders for the duration of this item. Do I have a mover? Councillor Zafiropoulos. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Haynes. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Motion carried. I'm pleased to present the Key to the City Award tonight. The Key to the City Award acknowledges the contribution of an individual, a group or organisation for outstanding achievement in their field. This can be in sport, entertainment, community or humanitarian work at a state, national or international level. Awarding the key to the city is an honour council doesn't bestow lightly. In 1988, the City of Doncaster and Templestowe awarded the first key to the city to Mr Irvine Green OAM. 30 years later, last year in 2018, Manningham Council awarded the second key in our city's history to Dr Jim Poulter. And tonight, the third recipient in our history to receive the key to the city is none other than Mr Ron Kitchenman OAM. Congratulations, Ron. Ron, could you please join me at the lectern while I read your acknowledgements? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ron has dedicated more than 52 years of his life to serving our community. And that is a lifetime. In actual fact, that's my lifetime, Ron. I turned 52 this year. Ron is joined by his wife, Beth, and his 4 daughters, Sue, Wendy, Bronwyn and Heather, and their families. So all your family is here tonight, Ron, your grandchildren, your son-in-laws.
Every one of them.
Fantastic.
I'm very proud of them all, thank you.
Fantastic. So Beth and the family have been strong supporters of Ron in delivering his outstanding community service. So let's start. Ron's community service started in 1966 when he became the inaugural president of the Beverly Hills Kindergarten, providing 30 years of service to this group. So your daughters left, but you stayed on. That's right. He was also the president of the Beverly Hills Primary School Committee for 10 years, where he helped establish the school oval and the library and 6 more kindergartens in the area. As his family grew older, he spent 10 years as president of East Doncaster Secondary College School Committee and assisted in delivering the tennis courts, the school hall and the gymnasium. In 1971, Ron received the Doncaster JC's Award, and he backed this award up by winning the Victorian JC's Award in the same year. In 1980, he was appointed a Justice of the Peace, and he still provides this service to this day at the Doncaster Police Station. So that's 39 years of service as a JP. In the same year in 1980, 39 years ago, Ron became a bail justice, and for over 35 years he attended more than 1,000 out-of-session hearings. And they're often in the middle of the night and they take hours, don't they, Ron? So, and they're not easy decisions to make.
No, they're not, especially at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Correct. And you selflessly provided this service free of charge, and you never sought reimbursement for your travels. Ron provided 25 years of service as a board member at the Manningham Recreational Association, where he helped build and manage sporting facilities throughout the whole of Manningham. He's also been a board member for 33 years of Manicare, and we have the board here at Manicare, and played a significant role in establishing this facility, ensuring our local residents can remain close to their family and friends in their community. And he's also a current member at Doncare, and he's provided this service for over 10 years, and we have the Doncare board here too. Giving time and helping others is a key passion for Ron. He's a deacon at the East Doncaster Baptist Church, and when needed he volunteers at the Doncaster RSL and Kevin Hines Grow. And he also established the committee for the Youth Rail building at the Pines. And you've got your Youth Rail buddies here, so that's fantastic. Ron served the community in local government as a councillor for 3 terms, both for the City of Doncaster and Templestowe and also for the City of Manningham. He was recognised by his peers on 2 occasions, and he served as Mayor at the City of Doncaster and Templestowe in 1978 and as Mayor for the City of Manningham in 2007. So you're very used to wearing these chains, Ron. Yeah.
I've seen them before.
Yeah, you've seen these before. Ron received the Citizen of the Year Award for Manningham in 2004. And to recognise his service to the Manningham community, Ron received an Order of Australia Medal in 2013. So I would like to thank, on behalf of my fellow councillors, I'd like to thank you for making such a positive contribution to so many people in our community. Your contribution is the ultimate example of active citizenship. Congratulations, Ron. And with that, I award you the key to the City of Manningham.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Now, Ron, would you like to say a few words?
If I may.
Absolutely. Okay. I'll hold your key while you take the podium.
Madam Mayor and councillors and executive officers, ladies and... Oh, sorry, I forgot our state members. Thank you. I didn't know you were coming, but I appreciate you being here. Ladies and gentlemen and boys and girls, I sincerely thank the Manningham Council for presenting me with this award. It has been very rewarding for me to have been able to be part of our community and to have been a member of various committees who have successfully provided facilities and services to our community. As mentioned, my first involvement was in 1966 as President of the Beverly Hills Kindergarten Association. The enthusiasm of that committee encouraged me to continue to be involved with our community for another 53 years. And it was at that time that I met Bill Larkin. And for the next 50 years, we teamed in many projects. It has been a pleasure to me to have met with so many wonderful people, enthusiastic people, on many committees who have become friends during this period. And there's many groups here tonight, and I've been very honoured to have worked with them all. Likewise, many projects have required partnership with Council, and I also thank councillors and their officers for their courtesy and cooperation. It's been a great working relationship. Very important, I would like to acknowledge the continued support of my wife, Beth. Without that support, I couldn't have been involved in all those procedures and happy committees that I've been involved with for many years. So, Beth, I really appreciate your support. And the support of our daughters. Again, I was missing on regular occasions, but I was out here working for the community. We have a fantastic and enthusiastic community here in Manningham, and I still enjoy being part of and working with our community. Again, I thank the Manningham City Council for this award. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ron. So I would now ask Ron's family, friends and supporters if they'd like to proceed to function room 3 for some refreshments, and the councillors will join you at the end of our meeting, which shouldn't take too long. This tonight, because as you can see, the agenda's quite short. So we'll see you shortly. Well done.
10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, there you go.
10 minutes.
Well, let's just say.
We need to make certain we don't miss out on what you're going to be doing, so there you go.
Well, it's only, we did it deliberately because of this. Unlike Parliament, the decisions haven't been made first. You're going to be there upstairs. Yeah, wait.
No.
Okay.
No, she can't. We've got to resume standing orders. She can't go home.
We're waiting for Andrew, are we?
I'm just wondering if we can elect another chair. I was just thinking, I've been to some political party meetings where people have walked out and therefore the meeting had to cease, yes, once the chair went, because there wasn't a quorum. Okay.
The ultimate dummies.
So, can I have a motion to resume standing orders, please? Councillor Zacharopoulos.
I move that standing orders be resumed.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Haynes. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Motion carried. Item number 6, petitions. There are no petitions. Item number 7, public question time. We've received 2 questions from Mr. Bob Slater. Mr. Slater, yes? If you'd like to come to the microphone.
Good, thanks very much. I was a bit nervous there for a while, the full house. I thought this is something really special, and it certainly was, but at least this is much more manageable. Just before I go, could I make a public thank you to Council? I'm from Applewood Village, and just recently we're very pleased that Council made representation for us to the federal government, and particularly we thank Councillors Chen, Haynes and Zafiropoulos for putting forward the need for us to have very, very important safety lights there at the Applewood entrance. It's a very, very dangerous place. Every day we have incidents. We just hope we don't have a death. And the $1 million being made available from the federal budget, and we're talking to the Department of Transport to get that through. So look, we thank Council very much for that support, and we'll keep you informed how we go with DOT. And also with the traffic engineers. They've been very, very, James Patterson, very, very helpful and very supportive, so thank you. Anyway, that's what I'm here for tonight. What I wanted to do, I've got a couple of questions I'd like to ask, but by way of preamble, I speak as the chair of the Residents Committee at Applewood and the 480 residents there. Also as an engineer back in the 80s and 90s, I had a lot of involvement with very senior engineers in design and planning for freeways, and our concern is about the option A of North East Link. And we're not just speaking as individuals with personal concerns, it's about a community concern in a broad way. We've read Manningham Council's summary in the Manningham Matters of the vast adverse effects of the state government's option to Manningham residents in the eastern part of Manningham. We note that Manningham's only response to government is to seek assurances to minimise fallout. In other words, accepting option A as being a fait accompli as we read it. We are concerned and confused why Manningham Council has not joined councils of Burundara, Whitehorse and Banyule in totally condemning this plan. These council areas will be equally affected by resulting traffic chaos, but will be nowhere nearly as affected as Manningham residents by loss of industrial area, businesses and social and environmental features. Yet they speak out for their residents while Manningham Council doesn't seem to be doing so. It's critical to note the original planning decades ago that was to create a ring road from the Geelong Road around what is now the Western Ring Road, through Eltham, Ringwood and along what is now East Link to the Mornington Peninsula. This followed creek beds, transmission easements and other reserved land that would make best use of land that was either otherwise unusable or uncommitted. It was planned well in advance and advertised so that urban sprawl could allow for it and be supported by it rather than disrupted. Other links include the Westgate Freeway to Monash Freeway link, which is now complete, and the Tullamarine Freeway Eastern Freeway link, which would be complete if the East-West link was put there. And that plan's still relevant. Successive governments have progressively dismantled this plan, mainly to the detriment of the eastern and southeastern suburbs. They down-designed the Western Ring Road, thereby rendering one of the most dangerous freeways in Australia. They cancelled planning on the Ring Road through the Eltham alignment, cancelled plans to construct a rail line along the Eastern Freeway, and cancelled the $1 billion contract for the East-West link, demonstrating that costs are not an issue. And option A is even worse. Even at the time when the East Link was being developed, I remember listening to Premier Brumby saying on radio, it won't make any difference to traffic on Eastern Freeway. And yet it was obvious that without the East-West link, that was going to be disastrous, and it is. So, and just today, Nella released a spreadsheet showing a predicted traffic flow on Eastern Freeway post option A that suggests the proposed works will be adequate. Perhaps Nella should call on John Brumby to convince us again. What's now option C was the original alignment for the North East link, is greenfield and remains the most sensible option. What's more, it had political bipartisan agreement. From a traffic flow perspective, we contend that any decision to link the ring road at Greensborough to Bulleen, as proposed by option A, without first completing option C, is even more reckless, destabilising and duplicitous than the failure to complete East Link without East-West Link. And this is only for traffic flow. On top of that, as you know, we have all these other problems with the industrial site and people's livelihood. Long-term planning is conducted to avoid such catastrophes. Those who settled near the Greenfields option C alignment knew full well in advance and could prepare accordingly. Those who planned their lives in good faith in the built-up areas now affected by option A had no such prior understanding. They are being sorely let down. This reversal overturns all the good that long-term political bipartisan planning aims to achieve, and for what gain. Now, the other councils, as I said, have spent money and they recognise the folly of this plan and they've challenged it. And from what we see, what Manningham Council has done, first of all, they circulated a paper requesting residents' views on options A to D with a submission date a week after the government's decision to choose option A. Brilliant bungling. Decided not to join the other councils in a combined objection, which is mystifying, and submitted a proposal that has all the hallmarks of listening to residents, but does not call the government out for their planning vandalism, and in fact is simply a facade to give residents the impression they have council support. How duplicitous. I will. At Apple, we have many very astute and professionally experienced people who have excellent memories of previous government follies justified by false figures and representation. We resent stupidity and duplicity at public expense and think well beyond any inconvenience to ourselves. We are fully aware from experience that so-called progressive governments are prone to replace things that work with seemingly good ideas that don't. And above all, we care about the community. My questions to the Council, Madam Mayor, first of all, why did Council decide not to join the other three neighbouring councils in their total objection to North East Link option A rather than just seek minor assurances? And question two, why does Manningham Council accept the government's change in strategic direction, opting for option A that seriously affects thousands of residents over the original, long-standing, well-planned, bipartisan agreed Greenfields option C?
Thank you, Mr. Slater. Firstly, I'd like to say, and I'd like to make this very clear, that Manningham Council opposes option A, and that is our decision, that is our council decision, which was made in a public meeting on the 25th of September 2017 by motion. And it was agreed to.
It doesn't come out in Manningham Matters. That doesn't say that.
Well, that is our position. Our position is that in principle, we agree that we have to solve the missing link, the north-east link. In principle, we need to somehow solve the congestion problem caused by the obvious missing link where the ring road basically finishes at Greensborough.
Yeah.
But we oppose option A.
Yeah.
Now, at the state election, option A had bipartisan support. So it had support both from the Andrews government and the Liberal opposition.
I don't believe that's true.
They did. It had bipartisan support. We still opposed option A. What's happened now is that there's a panel hearing to consider option A. And what the experts who sit on the panel made it very clear to us at the directions hearing and very clear in the terms of reference is they're not going to consider the other options. So they said at the directions hearing, you can put forward a submission that we should consider the other options, but that's not within our terms of reference, and therefore we are not even going to consider it. So we're in a position where we're only dealing at the panel hearing with option A, and as a council, we need to put the best possible position to the panel for the best possible outcome for our community, given that that option A appears to be proceeding. So we're very pragmatic. We are a pragmatic council. We are pragmatic people here in Manningham, and we want to spend our time making submissions that will be heard, that are relevant and are relevant to the terms of reference. And that's what we're doing. Now, the reason why the three other councils appear to be united is because they've engaged the one legal counsel. So they've all engaged a law firm called Maddox. So their documentation generally appears to look united because it's written by one lawyer. Now, here at Manningham, we have our own representation. We're not going to share it. We're going to have our own lawyers and our own barrister presenting our case, because our case is important and our people are important.
Thank you. You hearten me. Yep. But from what I've seen, I haven't seen anything in the press that comes out categorically saying the City of Manningham opposes option A.
Well, we
do.
So
could I ask, would you please make that comment?
We've got the leader here. So the City of Manningham's position is that we oppose option A, and that has been the case since the 28th of September 2016.
Good. Okay, no, thanks for that.
2017.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Right. So we'll now move to item number 8, which is the admission of urgent business. There is one proposed urgent business item. In order to admit a proposed urgent business item, Council will need to resolve as follows. Do I have a mover? Councillor Chen.
Madam Mayor, I move that the Council admits for consideration as part of item 14, the following item of urgent business, submission to proposal to propose local government bill 2019 reform proposals.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Conlon. Accordingly, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Motion carried. Item number 9, planning permit applications. There are no planning permit applications. Item number 10, city planning and community. Item number 10.1, Yarra River Bulleen Precinct Land Use Framework Plan. Do I have a mover? Councillor Goff.
Madam Mayor, I will move with an amendment.
Yes, proceed, Councillor Goff.
Madam Mayor, I move as on the paper, but insert a D, and then D becomes E, and E becomes F on the paper. Mm-hmm. And the D is 1. So this is all predicated by the words that council. the council, one, insist that the land in Bulleen Industrial Precinct used for the North East Link project construction be returned to commercial and industrial zone uses after construction. Two, part 2 of that D, is insist that the sporting facilities and infrastructure be allowed to be built on the land along Templestowe Road, Yarra River Precinct. And 3, that we write to the Premier and relevant government ministers and local members of Parliament outlining Council's expectations in points 1 and 2. And then D becomes E and E becomes F. So that's the move with amendment.
Thank you, Councillor Goff. Do I have a seconder to the motion? Councillor Conlon. Thank you. Would the mover like to speak?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Listen, we've spent time here at Manningham looking over, I suppose, a precinct, a response to the state government's precinct plan of the Yarra River in this Middle Yarra area of the Bulleen precinct area. And indeed, that has come up at the same time also that NILP wanting to build a big roadway right through the area, and indeed when it gets to Bulleen, it comes into that area. And again, with a whole lot of negotiations and things that we're doing with the government, there's a sort of a very blurred line between the two processes. They were supposed to be held concurrently, but they're going to be held a little bit apart now. But given that we've got a number of issues within that precinct area, and that Yarra River concept puts an overstatement over what is expected to be in that area. And in listening to our community, there are a number of things that are very important for us. With NILP being involved, we need to have that precinct to not just do I suppose leisure, recreational, non-active recreation, walking and whatever, but we need it now with NILP to carry the load of what we're losing in Bulleen Park and other areas to the sports. And so in that area, we need to be able to build infrastructure on this other land that's been identified. So that needs to be allowed, and we're standing up very much to be able to, on public lands that's owned by the government, to put that infrastructure and allow NILP to put that infrastructure. And the part 1 is that we are losing our only, I suppose, light industrial area of Manningham. There is a tiny couple of factories other than that within Manningham, and Manningham stretches for about 30 kilometres one way and about 10 kilometres the other. So if you take that huge area, it's a huge portion of the Melbourne metropolitan area that just does not have what the government talk about is 20-minute cities, people being able to reside and work in the same place. How in the heck can we do that when we don't have the area zoned to do that? And the one, Madam Mayor, area that we have got zoned for that is going to get lost in the process. Now, we understand that. But when that road is built and the tunnels are underneath, we can rebuild on top. And what we're asking is that it is rebuilt, being able to allow a similar sort of thing, in fact an expanded with some commercial as well, but a similar sort of development go in there to allow us to have some sort of business and industrial area, or factory area, not producing, I'm talking about steel smelters, but I'm talking about those little factories, those little places that do minor things. They might do a bit of food production, they may do some small construction, they may do servicing of motor vehicles, they may do a number of things, it may be a storage place. But indeed, this particular location is a great position for that sort of thing because of the road that is going to be built, going around, easy access to access anywhere around Melbourne using the ring road and the freeway system. We're right on it, you get off it. This is a vital area for that, and it's vital to bring the diversity in our city back to our city, because indeed in the time in which Manningham was built, we lost a lot of that diversity and it went straight into residential. And we see in report after report after report, Madam Mayor, how we need to have these 20-minute cities, how we need to have workplaces close to where people live. We write about it all, and at the one time we need to stand up for the one area we've got in our area that actually does that, and we may need to look at other opportunities into the future. But we need to stand up for what we've got here and get that, because there are people not. It's one thing to be compensated for a loss of a business, but a loss of a business is more than just that. It's a future and it's a location of where you are. And if we can allow for some people, if they wish to move back into this area, to do so after the completion, I think we need to go out all stops, and that's why I needed to put those two in. So thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Would the seconder like to speak?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Goff, for the amendments. I agree with the amendments, that's no issue, but I'm actually standing to thank the officers for really ramping up the advocacy in this plan, and it's something that, as we've heard some passion in the room already tonight, about where we all stand with the North East Link project and the need for us to have a strong voice on behalf of our community. So in items, the old item D and E, it talked about the, appointing Harwood Andrews lawyers and really giving the authority to our officers to really ramp up our advocacy in this particular area, because it's advocacy that is going to help our community in the long term to have those wins. So I just want to thank particularly the CEO for, in the last, I think you've been here not that long, but in terms of ramping up advocacy and getting that whole program. So I appreciate, on behalf of the councillors, I commend this motion to the floor.
Thank you, Councillor Conlon. Are there any speakers against the motion? Any further speakers? Accordingly, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Motion carried. So item 10.2, Reconciliation Action Plan Review and Development. Do I have a mover? Councillor McLeish.
Madam Mayor, I move that the recommendation be adopted.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Galbally. Would the mover like to speak?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, this is a recognition by us as council that we are now commencing the process to review our reconciliation action plan. It's an important element of our city that we have an active reconciliation action plan within our Healthy City action plan. We are seeking to begin the process of working with the wider community on reviewing our existing RAP. The RAP defines for us in the city just how we will work towards reconciliation. We've made a number of notable achievements under the earlier RAP. We are, in fact, one of the very first adopters of a reconciliation action plan in suburban Melbourne. So it's a continuing initiative for our city. We're now going to establish a working group, bringing together people from the wider community to assist us in reviewing our action plan to guide us over the next 4 years. This motion will begin that process.
Thank you, Councillor. Would the seconder like to speak? Any speakers against the motion? Accordingly, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Motion carried. Item number 11, City Services. 11.1, Local Government Power Purchase Agreement, proceeding to tender stage. Do I have a mover? Councillor McLeish.
Madam Mayor, I move that the recommendation be adopted.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Haynes. Would the mover like to speak?
I reserve my right, Madam Mayor.
Would the seconder like to speak?
No.
Any other speakers? No? Accordingly, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Motion carried. 11.2, McLaughlin Street, Templestowe, temporary road closure. Do I have a seconder?
Moved as on the paper, Madam.
Thank you, Councillor Goff. Do I have a seconder? Sorry, I said seconder. I meant mover. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Conlon. Would the mover like to speak? No? Yep, you reserve your right. Yes. Would the seconder?
Thank you.
Any further speakers? Accordingly, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Motion carried. Item number 12, shared services. There are no shared services reports. Item number 13, Chief Executive Officer. 13.1, correction to council minutes dated the 28th of May 2019. Do I have a mover? Councillor Haynes.
I move that the recommendation be adopted.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Galbally. Accordingly, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Motion carried. 13.2, record of assembly of councillors. Do I have a mover?
I'll move it.
Thank you, Councillor Conlon.
I'll move that the recommendation be adopted.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Galbally, thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Documents for sealing. Do I have a mover? Thank you,
I
Councillor
move
Haynes.
that the alternative motion that has already been distributed be adopted.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Zafiropoulos. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Motion carried. Items of urgent business, number 14. 14.1, submission to proposed local government bill 2019 reform proposals. Do I have a mover? Councillor McLeish.
Madam Mayor, I move that the recommendation be adopted.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Chen. Would the mover like to speak?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, this is our submission in respect of the state government's plans to reform the local government bill. There are a number of notable changes that they're putting forward, and some of the proposals they're putting forward have merit, but there are proposals here that we completely disagree with as a council. Well, I certainly do. And I guess we'll find out in a couple of minutes whether the council supports this proposition. The most notable of those is that we believe we should remain as multi-member council wards. It's quite important as far as this council is concerned that particular attribute of our city remains as it is. We believe it's representative, it's effective at producing a representative council. This is my second term in council. It's my privilege to have been a member of a council that has had 5 women on the council both times. Currently have 5 women and 4 men. And I believe that's representative of our community, and I firmly believe that one of the reasons we have that makeup on our council is the effect of multi-member wards. It has been said that if you go and look at the statistics just in Victoria today, where we have multi-member wards, we have 41% of councillors are women. Where we have single-member wards, it's about 34%. There's a marked underrepresentation of women in local government where you have single-member wards. It's, I believe it generates a more diverse selection of candidates. It's more reflective of the community. It certainly works when you have a mixed council where you have Mullen ward, for example, which is highly distributed. It would be very hard to carve Mullen ward up into 3 individual wards. And then you have the 2 inner city wards, which could, in theory, be divided up. But what's the point? All it will do is lead to discrimination, in my view. There are a number of other reforms that we support in our submission, some of which we have some concerns, which we think we could be refined. In the end, Madam Mayor, I commend the officer's report that we have discussed at length to the chamber and hope our councillors will support it.
Thank you, Councillor. Would the seconder like to speak?
Yes, Madam Mayor. And just to emphasise the benefit of multi-single ward, as my fellow councillor, Councillor McLeish just mentioned about the gender diversity. So because of the multi wards, and that will contribute to the that will have more women than men in these wards and in this council, and also in terms of cultural diversity. And just as a statistics, we have more than 140 nationals in Manningham, and 42% of residents speak a language other than English. So that presents the diversity of our community. And without multi-ward, that structure, that won't be happen, because if you look at the figures, they are still a minority, and that won't be survive the chance to be elected if there is a single ward structures. So I congratulate our officers to pick up the points. So hopefully we have the support of my fellow councillors. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Any speakers against the motion? Any further speakers? Yes, Councillor Conlon.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you to Councillor McLeish and Councillor Chen for their comments. I'd actually like to focus on the last part of, which is the community accountability, which is a very interesting concept coming from the state government to hold us accountable by allowing residents to basically run a petition to sack a councillor, and that would be approved by the minister potentially. where there is no such accountability on the state government. And so I think this is really, it's a crazy notion. It's being considered by many different governments around the world and given away as a bad idea. The last time it was used, I understand, or one of the times it was used, was in Nazi Germany, but pre the Second World War. So it's an interesting fact. I know that the MAV is fighting strongly for, mostly in line with what we're arguing here. So I commend this motion and thank you to the officers involved, particularly Carrie, for putting this all together. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further speakers? No? Accordingly, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Motion carried. Item number 15, councillor question time. Are there any questions? Thank you. Item number 16, confidential reports.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
To read out. Oh,
Yes, councillor Haynes.
oh, Madam Mayor, I'd like to move a motion for item 16.1 to be considered in open meeting.
Certainly. You may move the motion.
Okay, thank you. Now, that council declare the information contained in item 16.1, Audit and Risk Committee, independent member reappointment and remuneration benchmark is no longer confidential information, and that the report be considered in the open meeting of council.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, councillor Chen. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Motion carried. Item 16.1, Audit and Risk Committee, independent member reappointment and remuneration benchmark. Do I have a mover? Councillor Haynes.
I move that the recommendation be adopted.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Goff, thank you. Would the mover like to speak? No. Would the seconder like to speak?
No, Madam
Thank you. Any speakers against the motion? Accordingly, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Motion carried. Excellent. It is now it's now 10 to 8, and I will close the meeting, and we will join former Mayor and Councillor Ron Kitchen.